Okay, let's just start the meeting. So, welcome to Codebusters week number 9. And then homework, I don't think any of you guys did it, so no need for that. So today we're going to be doing Patristocrats, and basically there's 3 types of them. So there's K1, K2, and random. And K1 and K2, for this certain cipher, there's really no difference except for like the format of the table. I'll explain that in another slide. And then for random, the substitution alphabet has no specific keyword pattern and is a random scrambling of the letters, meaning so in K1 and K2, they have a keyword in the frequency table, but random alphabet, it's one of the harder ones and it's there's no keyword in the table. And then it is a medium level difficulty cipher. So it's not too hard, but it should be high priority. And for random, it should take a little longer, so around like 8 to 10 minutes. And then for K1 and K2, it should take around 5 to 10 minutes. And then it can be from 500 to 700 points, again, high priority. And then it's really similar to aristocrats, but with spaces and punctuation removed, and the letters are in sets of 5. And then when skimming the test, try to finish the patristocrats first, and it should only take one person. I know some ciphers do require 2 people, but this one is faster if you just do it by yourself. And then the table is not recorded for points. So if it is, they will say so, but it usually is not. And then over here, what I mean by like K1 and K2, actually, let me show you the division rules. So over here, it says messages with spaces removed and then with letters in groups of set 5. And then it has K1, K2, or random alphabets. And this is also the same for aristocrats with no spelling or grammar errors and with spelling or grammar errors. And aristocrats can have hints. Usually in random, they don't have hints, but for K1 and K2, they do have hints. Any questions so far for anybody? Okay, let's continue on. So K1, the keyword is used to build the ciphertext alphabet. And then K2, the keyword is used to build the plain text alphabet. And then there's no practical difference for solving, so you don't really need to worry about the difference that much. And then the only reason the test mentions K1 or K2 is to indicate how the alphabet was originally keyed. If they give you a keyword cipher, it usually doesn't change how you actually decode a particistocrat. And then K1, basically all it's saying is that the keyword appears in the bottom row. So over here, the keyword is apple in the ciphertext. And then for K2, the keyword appears in the plain text alphabet in the top row. So that's basically all the difference between K1 and K2. And then what I mean by the table in the top and bottom row. So this is a ciphertext over here. And then this is the plain text, and then in the table, this is what I mean. So like this is the bottom row, and then this is the top row. So except format, there's not much difference in this cipher for K1 and K2. Okay, so for common strategies, can Ananya, can you read me the first bullet point up until this?
Even without spaces, high-frequency word patterns can be identified. If the is common in your text, find the trigram that appears frequently. Once you've identified a word, the rest of the message will quickly fall into place.
So basically all you just need to do is there's also some instances where, for example, if they give the hint as P is E and then there's a gap over here and then there's a gap over here, it most likely would be there. And this is where it comes similar to aristocrats because it's just guessing. And Okay. Kashfi, can you read this bullet point for us?
Okay, vowels and consonants behave differently. Vowels often appear in sequence with consonants. If a ciphertext letter has many different letters as its neighbors, it's likely a vowel.
Yeah. And then can uh Raj, can you read us this bullet point?
Use of frequency analysis. ETAOINSHRDLU are the most common letters from left to right. This is useful because you have to rely less on common word patterns until you've made educated guesses. One strategy is to look at the most frequent letters and try to make the word the.
Yeah. So then just try to remember this. This is helpful for all ciphers, actually. And then Keel, can you read this bullet point for us?
Common digraphs. These are common two-letter phrases. Examples: th, hetzy, in, er, en, re, etc. This is hard to work in, so use it to confirm guesses.
Yeah, so it is a little bit harder to get digraphs in the cipher, but after you've got like certain, for example, the most common would be TH, and if you had it as PQ as like the ciphertext and TH is the plain text, then if you see the same thing in another spot, then that would just confirm your guess. Okay, and then this is what you should take note of. So step number 1 is if given hints, then fill those out and tally how often each letter appears in the ciphertext using the table. So, like I said above over here, the frequency is given in all the tables. And then step number 2 is to make initial guesses like matching the most frequent ciphertext to common English letters, and that would be E, T, A, O, I, and N. And then step number 3 is to search for repeated letter combinations, so digraphs like TH, and trigraphs like THE, so the. And then there's also double letters, which is a huge part of patristocrats because, and they're all most likely going to be either LL or SS. It can be E, but that is not as common. So that's something to keep in mind. And then step number 4 is to use keywords. Obviously, skip this for random. And then step 5, keep guessing to solve the rest of the cipher. So once you're done writing this on paper or taking note of it, put a thumbs up, and then we'll continue on to the next slide. Okay, so let's do a practice example. So let's go through K2 first, and then I also have random and K1. If we do have time, we can go on to trying one on your own. Yeah, and then so you guys can you guys all annotate on the screen? I think it works. Yeah, so I'll show you guys how to do it first, and then we can try going through it together. So first, we know that it starts with when and then Y, and then it's K2. So, and the table is not required. So this table is not required. It's just a tool. You won't be graded on this, like I said before. So that means that W and decodes to, U decodes to W, and then we have EN over here. And then right away when I saw this part, I thought it would be when you or maybe when you're. So I immediately put that in. And then we also have P as E over here. And then we know H is N. And then you kind of just keep filling it out. So we already have I, and then we have H over here, N, and then we have E as P. So another thing I really quickly saw over here is that this could be either like encounter. We can see if that works. And I think it does. Yeah, it does work. So it just, you kind of keep continuing on, but there's no like spaces. So like aristocrats, usually it would make sense and align with the plain text and ciphertext, but in this case, it's all in five. Another thing to note, whenever it has like just a single letter, that doesn't mean it could be I or A. That's just there at the end of the cipher. So that, because over here we have E, right? So then whatever this word is, it continues on over here and then to E. Okay, so then I would just continue filling on. So M is R, and then we have E over here, and then we have I as O. Then, does anybody have any guesses so far that you guys want to try? No, Viraj, it would be, this is O and Q is T. Yeah, this is Q. This is not O. If you can't see, let me write that again. It's a
Oh.
Q. Okay. Ananya, do you have anything in mind? Let's go through the cipher together.
Sorry, it started writing automatically when I brought my pencil close.
Oh, no, that's okay. So,
Um,
do you want to go over here? Do you see anything that you think you could put as O over here?
where?
Over here.
Oh, A?
Something like, don't you think, where it's like, so there's a O and then there's a N-O-T. So have you ever heard of a phrase like that?
Then, I don't really know.
Do you want to try out do not? Doesn't that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then over here we have that. Raj, let's do everything together. And then you can annotate later on the next page.
Like, I don't know how to stop annotating. Like, whenever I move my cursor, it starts drawing lines everywhere.
Yeah, I drew that T once and I can't, and it continues to redraw the T. I'm not even touching my computer.
Oh, I don't know why. Zoom might be a bit laggy. But
Yeah.
or just don't click on the annotate button and then it might help.
I even clicked it off and it's still doing it.
Oh, that's
Oh,
okay. Okay. So and then we have Q as T over here. And then we already got R and then W over here. And then W is Y over here. So it's saying so far, do not try to, and then blank. Okay, so let's see if we can find something over here. So we know that S is U, and then Q is T, and we have P over here as E. The most time-consuming part of the cipher is probably just filling out everything, but it is a lot easier on paper when you do it. And we have T over here. Then we have N and then E. Then we have P over here. N, C, and E again. Okay, so Kashfi, do you see anything? Can you help me with something over here? Anywhere?
I'm not sure.
Okay. But do you see what do you think J could be over here?
Maybe J could be like W, like rec.
Um, good idea. But if it was rec, would what make sense? Like not what, but like what, like this? Would that really make sense?
No, that wouldn't. So then break.
Yeah, that would make complete sense because it makes sense over here as but and then bend. So then we got a couple more things over here. Then we have D over here. Then I think anybody have idea what over here?
M.
Yeah, them. So break them. Raj, can you help me somewhere over here? What do you
Uh,
think O could be?
don't we already have O?
I don't think so.
Isn't it D?
Oh wait, sorry, I meant Y over here.
Yeah. Um, I mean, it's the beginning of another word, so I'm not fully sure. But let's see.
Maybe we could try I. The only reason I say that is because we use E and then we used T, we used A, we used O, and we used N. So then we want to try I
Okay.
because that works over here. So then do you get what would go into the rest? Do you have any idea? Raj, do you have an idea?
Could be an L or an S.
Yeah. I can hint you over here. So
Not an L because there's no L's in the thing. Oh no, never mind. That's a different thing. Sorry.
uh
Um,
What's a synonym for hard? Because this word is a synonym for hard.
Oh, it's an F.
Yeah. So,
And then it becomes difficult.
yeah, difficulties. Let me erase. So we have so far when you encountered difficulties, and then let's see what we can get. So we have this. Mengfei, can you help me with this part?
Maybe it's a D like and.
Yeah, we already have O, so and then we have E. So what do you think? Anything else over here, for example, R, because we have L over here. So what would R be?
Wait.
So basically all it is it's like blank and then ento. Does that remind you of any word? The synonym for like soft and caring.
What? I didn't hear you.
Okay, so it's like a letter and then it's ento over here.
Yeah.
So
Gentle.
yeah, gentle. Yeah, gentle. So then we got R, and then okay, so we're almost there, and then O over here is D, and then Y is I, and then we have G is M, so A, and then N is S, and then over here it's W. So all it says is when you encounter difficulties and contradictions, do not try to break them, but bend them with gentleness and time. Does this make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Yes.
Then let's go into another cipher. Okay, so this one is a random one, so it is a little bit harder. And notice how the points are really high. So this cipher probably contains like I said before, 500 to 700 points, and random ones are usually the higher points on this cipher. Okay, so far we don't have any clues or any hints, right? So what I think is I would look at the frequencies first, and we see that 18 for P is the highest. And I know the most common letter is E, right? So we can try out P as E. And then what I would see over here is I see, like I said before, right? So it's like blank E and then space, space. So then this would be there. Of course, this is not always true, but we can just try it in this case. And if it's wrong, then we can come back to it. This is there. And then let's fill in some more and see if we can get any clues. And another clue I see over here, this could be between. That looks like it would work. And then over here we have a double letter. So, Nanya, can you help us with the double letter?
Yeah, so
What do you think the double letter could be?
it could be an L maybe?
Yeah, I think it could be either an L or an S, but let's see if it's L. And then if this is L, what would most likely be as R?
Either A. Oh, wait, no, it's A. Most likely.
Yeah, unless it could be Bill, I'm not sure, but we can try both. Okay, and then we have the, I think it makes sense. Yeah. Then we have, then we also have L over here. Let's try to figure out what's over here. So most likely, something could be like after there is usually common digraph. So, Kashvi, can you help us with BH?
So if BH, I'm not sure where to start.
Okay, so basically, when you did other ciphers, did you ever come across where there's something like there and then what's after that?
There is?
Yeah, so I think this could be there is, and then we have the B as I, and it looks like it makes sense for the most part, and D, and we have R as A, so there could be something like there is a or something. And then we have I. Okay. Akil, can you help us with this part over here? What do you guess? So we have I, and then we have R, E, and then we have this space and then T, and then we have a letter right here. So what could be these two letters? Just guess, like guess any letters and we can see if it works.
I don't know.
Okay, that's okay. But basically, what's a synonym for something like straightforward? Okay, so what if we try, do you want to try direct? I don't know if this will work, but that's what I'm thinking over here. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, so then we can continue on from there. And then R is A, and then M is T, and then we have B as I, and then did we get Y? I don't think so. And then let's move on to here. And this is so Raj, can you help us with X?
What's the letter under K? Is it an H?
Yes, sorry.
So it's HSHI space B.
Yes.
And what's under P? It's an E.
It's between. And then SIH.
Okay.
Between. So what do you think X is?
It could be like a P.
Yeah, so I think it could be ship because that makes sense. Ship between the, and then over here, we only have one X, and then let's try to go over here.